The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Chair, I'm going to take another call because I think we need to put some facts on the table. And a number of my colleagues have said that this government has not been afraid to face the hard issues, and I concur with that. We haven't been afraid to face the hard issues. We haven't been afraid to invest early in prevention and rehabilitation. We have been a brave government that has done things that other governments have not been prepared to do. And I would have to say we have not been afraid to admit that some things aren't working. And in fairness, in last year's budget, we recognised that there were too many children living in this country who were experiencing hardship. And despite the emotive rhetoric of the previous speaker, this government, this national government, was the first government in 43 years to raise the benefit for families. The first government in 43 years. Now that is amazing for any government to do, but when Labor went right through the 2000s with all the money that they had, surplus after surplus, they've told us about how much did they put into the very poorest in this country? Absolutely zip. Well, this national government last month started paying $25 a week after tax to those families dependent on a benefit. And what's more, we didn't stop there, because we said, but there are also families who are working on the lowest of incomes who also have children who are not experiencing the sort of New Zealand life we want for all New Zealand children, and we increased their Working for Families payments as well. That was this government, and last month that money started being paid out to those families. And I have to say, I don't know about my colleagues, and I certainly don't know about the opposition, but I've had people in my electorate offices saying, this has made an enormous difference to us. We hadn't realised how much difference that extra $25 a week will make to us and to our children. And I come back to the fact that you cannot escape the difference it makes in people's lives when you help them into independence and not reliant on the state for a benefit. And what's more, it makes a difference for their children. This government has not been afraid to tackle the appalling record of child, youth and family in looking after children who need state care. And we know that we are in for a complete overhaul of that system. This government has not been afraid to tackle the issues of the harm in our communities to women, to children and their communities that gangs impose. And the Minister of Police and Corrections and myself, the Honourable Judith Collins, and I announced a whole range of issues, not just from a law enforcement point of view, but a social development hand as well. And I announced 2 community pilots where we're trying some stuff to see if we can make a difference in the lives of those who are mainly the families of gang members who feature too highly in all the deprivation stats, in all the family violence stats, in all the notifications to SIF stats, and I have to say in all the stats around arrests, prosecutions and criminal sentences. And I come back to the fact that I say this government has not been afraid to tackle some of those hard issues and accept that some of the tried and true things in the past are not working. They are simply not making a difference in people's lives, and we should stop doing them, and we should try and experiment and try and find better ways of changing people's lives with the taxpayers' money that we are investing. And this government will continue to do that, because we are determined to make a difference in the lives of those New Zealanders that rely on the government to help them when something untoward happens to them.
Materia Ture.